On today's video, we're going to be talking about the story of my regression where I was a shaman from South America and I had connections to some extraterrestrials. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Rachel, and on my channel I talk about everything spiritual experiences I've had, just different things I've learned and grown from, and my channel is just all about sharing this information so that we can jointly and together help raise consciousness. Now, when I came down off the cloud, I landed in a forest. It was just a lot of greenery, land, no buildings or anything. And at first I didn't really see anything. All I saw was just, I could look down and I could see that I was barefoot. I also felt that I had some male energy. I'm looking around and I noticed that there's a group of people with me. They look like me. We look like an indigenous tribe, I would say, just based off of what they looked like and how they were dressed. The scene was pretty frantic. Everybody was looking for a place to hide. We were running. I was leading the group, trying to find somewhere safe to go. Kind of pulling myself out and looking at it from the outside. What was actually going on is that the town, or the little, I don't know what you would call it exactly, but the little place that we were residing at, where our village, it was actually being invaded by a group of people that we didn't understand their language, but they did have what I recognized to be an English accent, but they were speaking English. Now, typically when you're brought into kind of a chaotic scene, the best thing to do is not really to go through the nitty-gritty details of a regression, because truthfully, it's just really unnecessary. So what we did was condense time and move forward to a moment that was important in that lifetime. So the time that I was brought to was a time where we had found a safe space to rebuild and start our life all over again, since our whole entire village was destroyed. So once we're all settled in, I look around and I noticed that there were some little ET beings that were in this scene. They weren't saying anything or doing anything in particular. I just remember that it was some hill and they were along the hill. Their ship had landed and they had came out and they were just on the hill perched looking at us. Now in this moment, I started to receive information on what the relationship actually was with these extraterrestrials and my people. Pretty much what it was that they were there to help and support us and show us ways to rebuild, that faster and quicker ways that we had never had experience with before or that we even knew of. They had brought plants that we didn't even have on our land from somewhere, and they planted them and they showed us how to plant them so that we could have this source of food that we actually never had before. Now with these extraterrestrial beings, we weren't scared of them. If anything, we actually felt comforted by their presence, because in the past, how our bloodline and our storyline goes through the generations is that these extraterrestrials have always been there for us, had this connection with us, always supported us throughout history, throughout time. These were beings that we told stories of to our kids. We passed down stories of the stuff that they would do for us and the new technology that they would bring to us. They showed us how to build a water irrigation system so that we would constantly have a flow of water where we were at in our new village. They also taught our people to do energy work. In fact, the people that they chose to show and give this energy healing capability to was the shamans. Now, when it came to selecting the people that would be able to do this energy healing work, it was because these extraterrestrials could sense and feel and just know the heart and soul of the people. The next thing that happened was I was asked where these beings were from. What came to me is Sirius. Now, these beings were not very emotional beings, or they didn't really show any feelings or emotions. However, the feeling that we would be able to sense from them and get from them was just this universal love that was so unconditional, I would say. And we felt it and we knew it. And although there wasn't this form of communication where we would talk back and forth to each other because they didn't communicate in that way, we just knew because of the feeling that we would get and the information that we would get from them. The connection between my people and these ETs is so strong and so deep that it started before humans were even here on planet Earth. And not only that, but it's going to continue on forever. In the area of South America that we did reside in, there were pyramids that were built by them, by the Sirian extraterrestrials. So in the beginning of the regression, I really didn't know that I was a shaman or anything. In fact, I was even asked if I was one of these people, and I I said no because I didn't get that feeling at first. But I think the reason why is because it wasn't until this happened, this situation happened where we had to escape and these extraterrestrials came, that is when I was gifted these healing energies and these powers to do this. And I was then made into a shaman at that time. They taught me to use my hands to heal people, and not only heal people, but to manifest things out of thin air. Just a little side note here that I did get from this regression is that everything is connected. The mind to the heart to the energy field. The thoughts that you have are connected to your feelings, and that's connected to your energy. So just always be very mindful of the thoughts that you are thinking. Don't think carelessly. If you notice that you are having a thought that is not helpful, or if it doesn't feel good, it's okay. All you have to do is recognize that you're having that thought and then reach for a better feeling thought. There's a lady that I love to watch. Her name is Esther Hicks, and she channels this entity named Abraham. And what she always says is when this happens, just reach for a better feeling thought. So identify when you're having that negative thought, reach for any thought that feels good. And it could be the most silliest thought you could think of. Take that thought and run with that thought. Start thinking other thoughts based off of that thought, and the next thing you know, you will start to feel better. At the end of the regressions, we always ask, what was the purpose of this life? Why were we shown this life by our subconscious mind? What was the actual purpose of it? Now, what I said was that this was a lifetime where I actually understood the process and the cycle of karma. Now, to do good acts in your life, to do good acts with heart and intention and love, it's super important because that's a high vibrational energy that you're putting out. And every bit of energy has a complete cycle to it. So if you're giving out this positive, loving energy with this action that you're doing that is coming from a place of just authenticity and love and just oneness, that same type of energy is going to come back to you. Not only that, but if you are holding on to some type of energy or situation that is not meant for you or not meant for your highest good, you can intentionally release that energy. Now, you can release that energy by being very specific to whatever kind of energy or feeling or situation that you're holding on to, and just visualize it being released back into the universe. Another very good way to release this kind of energy is to do grounding work at the same time. So put your feet in the sand, on some grass, dirt, whatever, and have a moment where you center yourself and you ground yourself. You take deep breaths. You just really intentionally connect to the earth and to nature, and you have an intention. Now, intention is our superpower as souls inside of a human body, okay? Intention is a purpose. It's a reason. It's something that we want to do. It's something that we want to create. So if you center yourself, you ground yourself, and you have this intention of, I want to release any energy that doesn't belong to me, any energy that is not serving my highest good, any energy that is of a lower vibration. I'm going to consciously release that energy and give it back for it to be transmuted and used into something of a higher vibration. That's just an example, but that is something that I say and I intend when I do this work. Now, when you put out energy that is the heart energy, acts that come from the heart, it is the highest form of energy that you could cycle in and out of your experience. Another note too is that acts that come from the heart space, the heart energy, it has a butterfly effect. And if you know anything about a butterfly effect, it's basically like what you would think of when dominoes knocked, is every domino is affected because of that first domino. So imagine you're putting out good energy, you're doing something random that someone wasn't expecting, you help them, you compliment them, you whatever the case may be. That person, if you're doing a specific act where you're going out of your way to help someone, it's going to give them a boost in their vibration, and then they're going to do a similar type of energy giving as you just did for them. Therefore, it's a butterfly effect. And although you will never know and you will never understand the magnitude of what one action can really do, just remember that doesn't even matter. What matters is that every day you live from your heart space, you come from this genuine, authentic place in yourself, and you live your truth. Now, the final message from my subconscious was to do acts that I say I'm going to do. And I'm going to tell you why this is actually super significant. I went to Mexico City in December of 2023. I went to go visit the pyramids. I'm not even going to try to say the name because I will not say it right. However, we went into a cave with our tour guide and our group, and we did this little silent meditation. It was extremely quiet. I've never been in a place where it was that quiet. And pretty much what we were told is that the people of that land would go inside of these caves and they would do meditations because it was so silent. And there was a message that came to me when I was doing this little 5-minute meditation, and it was very simple but very powerful. Do what you say you're gonna do. And the reason being is because you will never say or set goals for yourself that aren't gonna be for your highest good. Therefore, if you are doing the things that you say you're gonna do, your mind, body, soul has no choice but to vibrate super high, because there's gonna be no guilt feeling, there's gonna be no feeling bad. You know you're doing everything in your power to just create the experience that you wanna have. So just remember, if you get anything else from this video, do what you say you're gonna do.
So you were the shaman of these people, right? So you would be the like the spiritual leader of the people as well.
And I had powers in my hands. They did teach me.
They taught you how to use your hands to heal?
Yes, but it was more than that. It was to do things, to also manipulate things.
Which could you manipulate?
Things that weren't there.